Welcome back to the show. It's your host, Sabotage. We're here for another episode of Sports First. Today, the NBA edition. Um, this is pretty much just a recap since, it's been a while since I made an NBA related video. Since a lot of the other videos have been doing in the past 2-3 weeks have just mainly been NFL since the UFC was away for a little bit. NBA just didn't want to do anything because just with all the injuries in the NBA, just all around higgity biggity, with the I don't even know what that means, but the state of NBA right now, the top seeds. If you don't know, if you know, as most of y'all know, the two best teams are obviously from the West Coast, with the Sons of Arizona, the Arizona Suns, Phoenix Suns. Then you got the Warriors, but the Warriors actually I'm sure the Warriors have had two of their wins, or two of their wins have come from the Warriors. I'm like 1,000% sure. The Warriors have beat them twice. I'm not sure if they've played a third one, but one of them was really good. This is like 2-3 weeks back. One of the games was really good. But one team that in the West Coast that's been terrible, not terrible, just they're still in a playoff seed. Are the LA Lakers. Shockingly, the Clippers are ahead of them. The Clippers are missing two of their stars, as in Kawhi and Paul George. I don't know if you heard or not, but Paul George could miss the remainder of the season. That's gonna suck for them because then there's a chance they might not even make the postseason since Kawhi. There was reports of Kawhi. Well, it would just be better for Kawhi not to even return this year. So that is just horrible for the Clippers. But then again, the Clippers are doing pretty well. With the one player specifically that's came out and done pretty well is Brandon Boston. Terrence Mann obviously has been getting more and more experience ever since, because he wasn't really a starter, but he was still getting a lot of minutes. Any other play? I don't think there was any. Maybe I'm missing somebody, but I remember the last couple of their games that I've seen or somewhat watched. They did beat the Denver Nuggets and the Hawks, so that's pretty good right there, if I don't say so. But they had been on a 3-game skid before that. Pretty sure there's been a couple of. Oh yeah, Amir Coffey's the other player. I actually watched him in college. I just thought he would be a dominant player, but then he came into the NBA. Didn't do so well in the beginning. Now is doing much better. So I guess they got that. Reggie Jackson's always pretty decent. The addition of Eric Bledsoe, if y'all didn't know, so. But yeah, the Clippers surprisingly are still doing decent. They're just a good all-around team, and you have a good coach, so that's one of the big things. Just in the NBA, you gotta have everything. You can't just be a mediocre team and just expect to get by and dominate and stuff. There's trying to point out a team that's just kind of been mediocre or just not good for years and years. And that's the Detroit Pistons, which I didn't like. I kind of thought that they might be one of the surprise teams. I did talk a lot of good. I have been talking a lot of good about Pistons. I've talked a lot of good about the Cavaliers. Cavaliers are actually really good, but they lost Sexton. But they did lose Garland for a little bit too, or their record would be even better than it is, even though they're 6 and they're like 3-4 games away from that top spot, so that they're in a good position. The East Coast top teams or the top 6 are kind of close to each other, not the same with the West Coast. The Bucks, Jordan Nwora has been somewhat of a surprise. I mean, in the beginning of the season, you obviously saw. I'm not sure if he played that much. And then they got Green, who's also been pretty good for them. The Heat added that Turkish player. I can't even pronounce his name, but I think he's a rookie, but he's an older rookie. He's been good. Tyler Hero's playing to his potential, or he's playing really good ball as of lately. Just looking like he has a lot of conference. Oh my god. Said conference confidence. For God's sakes, he has a lot of conference. But the conference. Kyrie has pretty much. I guess the team is going to be paying us for his fines, and he's pretty much back. DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine and the Ball brother, that is working out great for the Chicago Bulls. Way better than anybody had expected. And the East Coast is actually really good right now. Like, it's these three of the bottom, not the very bottom, but three of the bottom, close to the play-ins teams. These three teams. Let's just go ahead and say 10, 11, and 12 as they are. These three teams you'd expect to be at somewhat the very top. I mean, a lot of people expected a lot from the Bulls, but not this much. Like, they just have been dominant, fun to watch, just a good all-around team. And like Zach LaVine, I don't know if people just thought he wasn't that good or nothing, but he's shown that he's good with players or without players around him. DeMar DeRozan. They also got Kobe White. They also got Preston Williams, who hasn't even came back. I think it's Patrick Williams, but from Florida man. I think he's dealing with an injury. I'm not sure if he's out for the season, but he's also really good. And he hasn't even came back. Vucevic, just all around so much talent on one friggin' team. That's crazy. They just started playing with each other, and their record is 27-12. That's but they did have that ugly loss against the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn. Good addition with Patty Mills. I thought that was going to be even a bigger, or he'd even have a bigger impact, but he makes impacts. Let's talk a little West Coast, even though I can keep going with the East Coast. Like I said, the Lakers have just expected Malik Monk to be, from the beginning, to be a real good addition to the Lakers, but he's okay. He's one of the better spots. Obviously, he's been one of the better spots. Him and LeBron, they got a connection, not compared to what him and as Skip Bayless says, Russell Westbrook. Yeah, Westbrook has just been terrible. Just awful, to be honest. Somebody else in the West Coast, the Suns they're still going, like I said, coaching, players, you just need the whole thing, coaches, players need to play smart. They just need the whole, and that's what the Suns got. And the Warriors, if you're shocked that they're really good this year, you shouldn't be. If you watched the very ending of last year, or somewhat even the ending, even the last year without Stephen Curry, they were a really good team. I was actually surprised that they got rid of Kelly Oubre, but they made up for that, and technically they already had players, as in Jordan Poole's been playing awesome. And then the Grizz, one of the other teams that's just been, man, this Grizzlies team is, I talked a lot about how they were good, but they were just, even in the beginning, I think I made one or two videos where I said like that last year I expected them to be good because there was just so much talent. They actually had that good game against the Lakers or the Warriors, but they fell off, in the playing games. But look at that, just talent, skill, shooters. They just got the whole, and there's some of these younger players are even showing some good signs, like Zaire Williams. Tilly's even showing some signs of being a good player. But the rest of them, the majority of these, Jared Culver, he's the player that I'm not so about, But everybody else, John Morant, Jaren Jackson, Dillion Brooks, I was about to say Dillian, but Dylan Brooks, and he hasn't even played as much. Well, in the beginning of the year, he played a good amount, but him and John Met dealt with some injuries. Tyus Jones, Brandon Clark. There's somebody I'm missing. D'Anthony Melton's is a really good player. They're all pretty good. With Xavier Williams, even though he doesn't get as much minutes. Kyle Anderson. They just got all around young. That's what you want in an NBA team. And their coach is pretty good. Obviously, he's good. He's been, with a team doing this well. I mean, with the good amount of players they got, you don't really expect them to be bad or nothing. I mean, even though last year they probably, last year was pretty much the third or second year of the rebuilding for them. But right now they're just killing it, to be honest. Obviously they whooped on the Lakers twice. We can actually go ahead and look at the record real quick, and then we'll pretty much just call it for this video. But they actually got a couple of good games coming up, so it should be fun watching the Grizzlies. But some of these games, not every single one of them has been good, but that's one right there against the Cavs, a really good team. Against the Nets, a really good team. The Lakers, I can't say they're a good team right now, other than King Jazim. Suns, a really good team, even though that was a 1-point win. The loss against the Warriors wasn't a terrible loss, but still. They're showing you that they can beat Damian. Well, this game again, December 19th, should have. I mean, they had Damian Lillard, Trailblazers, but still a close game. But probably should have beat that team. Beat the 76ers. Also, Cam Reddish got traded to the New York Knicks. Cam Reddish is actually a good player, so I was kind of surprised to hear. But he's dealt with a lot of injuries. But still, I was kind of shocked that he got traded. But they're getting the protected first round pick. I think Hill. I think he might have been traded to somebody else, to the Nets or some in that situation. But similar with the situation where teams just need something to click for them. Like the Rockets, there was a time where they won 7 in a row, but now they're on it. They won one yesterday, but still they had lost 10 before that. Thunder, there's so much talent with Trey Mann. There's just a lot of these. Well, obviously it's the NBA. All these teams have good players. They just need, that one thing to click, and one of these other teams is going to end up being the bottom team. I don't know, for the amount of NBA I watch, I don't know, I expect almost every team to be good. You're in the pros, you're in the league, man. You're in the league.